there, people. There's only a few here, but you guys get the preview. Today we're going to have a little history lesson before we get into the news. So, just a thought. I'm going to play the intro and hopefully some other people pop in. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog Studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, P. Dog Night. Alright, and stop the music. I'm pretty sure you can hear me. I'm going to start the other music here real quick. Whoa, you can't see me though. Hey, what the hell's going on here? There I am. Ha ha. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, B. Marty, aka P. Dog Night on the P. Dog Night channel. And before we get going, I'm gonna get the music going in the background right away. I got a little funky groove coming out there. Oh, it's a little loud though, isn't it? Holy smokes! Let me turn that down. My goodness, let's make it so you can hear yourself think. I hope no one was wearing headphones that had them up too loud. That's pretty loud, isn't it? Okay, that's a little better. All right. So let's get it going. Like I said, I'm going to do a little history lesson today. I noticed a little blip on the radar that it is 70 years ago. The Berlin airlift was happening. Apparently, this was the end of the Berlin air. Let's see. On September 30th, 1949, the U.S. and her allies completed their mission to rescue the people of Berlin from starvation and stave off the spread of communism. I think this is a fantastic story. Maybe you know the story, maybe you don't. But I pulled out an article that talks about that, and that's what we're going to start with. But before I do, even though we have a small crowd here today so far, I'm going to say good morning. Jaeger Pony made it first. How you doing, my friend? And you get the bell. Good morning, Tyler F, Max Del Rio, D.I. Freighter, who's going to be in lurk mode because got some stuff to do. And whoever the other person is, hi there. It might be, or is that me? Does it give me? I'm not even sure if it gives me my own little number there, but hopefully people will start rolling in. But I thought we'd, like I said, we're going to do a little history lesson first, and then we'll get into some headlines about what's going on in the news. Not a lot of new things from yesterday, but there's plenty of articles to go through, so that's what we'll do. So first I'm going to start though with this thing about the Berlin airlift. Now this is and I named the stream "Freedom is Not Free," just because it's just one of those things. If you want freedom, sometimes you got to do some extraordinary things to make sure that you can secure freedom, even if it's not for yourself, but for others in the world. And the Berlin airlift was a pretty extraordinary thing. Now, so let me pull this up here. Let's see, is that the good one? Let me go full. Should I go full screen on this just so you can see the whole thing? There we go. All right, so how the Berlin airlift beat back communism 70 years ago today. Hello, Richo. Good morning. And like I said, on September 30th, 1949, the U.S. and her allies completed their mission to rescue the people of Berlin from starvation and stave off the spread of communism. The buildings were bombed, and it seemed like there weren't many men around. All ladies. It was real poverty. It was pitiful. 93-year-old Ralph Dion recalls of Germany in 1948. There was a gate around our barracks area. The old women would come to the gate begging to help you with your laundry. They would take the laundry back home and bring it back faithfully. You could trust them. And they would get paid in cigarettes. That was the money of the time. In the bombed-out rooms of the former Nazi capital, the fate of the next century stood on the edge of a knife. Dion, as a 21-year-old mechanic and flight engineer for the U.S. Army, had a front-row seat for the drama. Like so many American men his age, he was called to Europe to serve, but unlike most, Dion's mission was not to fight Germans. It was to help them survive. This massive Allied undertaking, the first battle of the Cold War, later became to be known as the Berlin Airlift. In honor of the 70th anniversary of the Berlin Airlift, Dion recently shared his memories at the International Spy Museum in Washington, D.C. Along with Cold War scholar Hope Harrison and curator of the Allied Museum in Berlin, Bernd von Kaska, they painted a vivid portrait of the volatile post-World War II world and why Americans should still care about the Berlin Airlift today. After its devastating defeat in the Second World War, Germany was on the precipice of doom. Its cities were in ruin, the people were demoralized, and its enemies were at the gates. The nation was divided into 4 sectors, controlled respectively by the victorious Allies: France, Great Britain, the Soviet Union, and the United States, losing a staggering 27 million people in the war. Soviet leader Joseph Stalin had little sympathy for the Germans in the Soviet-controlled sector. With the memory of Nazi occupation still fresh in their minds, the French were also understandably leery about helping Germany back to its feet. But although Great Britain and the United States both paid dearly in the war as well, they were confident that a stable, reconstructed Germany was not only possible, but essential to world stability. By then, U.S. President Harry Truman and the British Prime Minister Winston Churchill believed Stalin and the intellectual contagion of communism presented a far greater threat than resurgent German fascism. The Western Allies knew that a stable, democratic German republic would be an essential barrier to halting the spread of communism in Western Europe. On the other hand, Stalin knew that poverty and chaos would only make the German people more apt to Russia's proxy or outright rule. An unstable world, still reeling from the agonies of 2 world wars, was up for grabs to whichever ideology offered people their best chance for stability and peace. By the spring of 1948, the stage for the first battle of the Cold War had been set. Hoping to get the German economy back on its feet, the Western Allies introduced a new currency, the Deutschmark, to the Western-controlled sectors of Germany and Berlin. Rightfully, Stalin saw this as a challenge to his power. In protest, on June 24, 1948, he launched a blockade on land, sea, and rail, denying all supplies to the still devastated city of Berlin. With the bombed-out capital still in ruins and a bitter winter approaching, Berliners needed food, clothing, and above all, coal to heat homes and power rebounding German industry. Americans like Dion, the British and the French were going to make sure they got it. Operation Vittles, which later became known as the Berlin Airlift, was underway. With Berlin 110 miles deep in Soviet sector, the airlift posed an enormous logistical challenge. The C-54 aircraft that Dion worked on required constant maintenance due to the airlift's round-the-clock flights with heavy cargo. The heavy loads of landing after landing just seared the tires, Dion explained to the audience. We had to change the tires all the time. It's no wonder. At the peak of the airlift on April 16, 1949, 1,398 flights carrying more than 12,940 tons were flown to Berlin within just 24 hours. That's an average of 1 flight every 62 seconds. American airlift pilot Colonel Gale Halverson even took it upon himself to drop candy in little parachutes to the children of Berlin as a token of friendship and affection. Born into chaos, most children didn't even know what candy was. Many were so poor they didn't have shoes. This gesture encouraged the people of Berlin that the Western Allies were sincere in their desire to rebuild Germany as a free, self-sufficient republic. Although the Americans and British championed its cause, the airlift was truly a united effort. The US and Great Britain provided pilots, aircraft, and flight engineers like Dion. Not only did the British employ the resources of the Royal Air Force, but they even paid private companies to fly supplies to the desperate Berliners. The French contributed by aiding air traffic over their sector, as well as providing coal and food. Holland contributed food as well. In the former capital of the Third Reich, the nation's Germany had tried to destroy just a few years earlier, were now coming to her rescue. What's the legacy of the Berlin airlift? By May 1949, it was clear that Stalin's blockade had backfired. The Western Allies had proven that they could carry on the airlift indefinitely. They had shown Stalin they were willing to fight for the fate of Berlin, Germany, and Western Europe. Stalin lifted the blockade on May 12, 1949, but the airlift continued to ensure Berlin would be well supplied for the winter. The United States made its final flight on September 30th, 1949. In the first showdown of the Cold War, Stalin lost. He gambled to prevent a military alliance of the other allies and against the creation of a democratic German state. His actions produced the opposite effect. The Berlin airlift led directly to the creation of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, otherwise known as NATO, a military alliance that could counter Soviet power. It also led to the creation of East and West Germany, creating a democratic barrier between Stalin's Russia and the rest of Europe. Even more importantly, in an era of political rancor, the Berlin airlift is a story that should make every American proud. American kids like Dion and Halverson helped Germany and the world recover from the agonies of war. They stood up to Stalin's plan to ruin the German people and consume the world. American men who saw their countrymen and loved ones die in World War II nevertheless joined the fight to help desperate Germans rebuild their lives. Instead of revenge or indifference, as a people, we chose mercy. In just 70 years, a nation on the brink of ruin and alienated from all her European neighbors has become the continent's economic and political leader. Germany and the United States are not only political allies and trading partners, but share a close friendship. And the people of Berlin have remembered. This spring, Dion was in Berlin being honored with the other airlift veterans. At the restaurant, his German waitress found out who he and his friends were. Her grandmother had told her stories about the airlift and how the Americans had saved Berlin. She had always wanted to meet an airlift veteran. She hugged him and paid for his dinner. They have a great feeling for Americans, said Dion. Let's keep it up. So, there's your quick history lesson for the day. Again, the airlift ended 70 years ago today. Quite a feat of the Allies. And again, it's interesting because that really was the point where, East and West Germany kind of became separate entities. And then, what is it? Was it 84 that the wall came down, or 86? I don't know. Somewhere during Reagan's term, that wall finally came down and Germany reunited. But that's quite a big thing in history. So, let's see. A couple people popped in since I started. Good morning, Lindsay and Green Thunder DeMighty and Grillin' Pirate Pete. Hey, what's going on? How you doing? So, let's see what I do there. Here we go. All right, so good morning, everybody. Again, today, it's weird. Yesterday, let's talk about yesterday first. So yesterday, I had to go finish getting stuff out of my father-in-law's apartment because today was the last day that we had to get things out of there. So we had a medical bed there. We found someone who could use that, and we donated it to them. And also one of his wheelchairs we donated. It was an electric wheelchair. And then I had 2 other units to get out of there. And it was so hot here yesterday, I couldn't believe it. It was like it was like 82 degrees and humid in Minnesota on September 30th. So clearly more proof of global warming. But then today it's back down to it's like 60. So it's, you know what? In the fall, every year we get like 2 or 3 hot days in a row. Usually like mid-October, and people are like, oh, it's more of that climate change. Well, it's just weather. But anyway, I was sweating so bad because I had to go rent a trailer, and then I had to put all the stuff in the trailer and take it all over the different places, dropping the stuff we donated off and whatever. But anyway, now I have a mobility scooter, which I hope to never have to use, and a brand new electric wheelchair that my father-in-law only had for about 30 days before he passed away. And so now we've got to try and sell that stuff. So, or maybe, I thought maybe if I can perhaps donate it to the Veterans Hospital or something like that. I don't know. We're going to figure out what to do with these items. So anyway, if you have any connections in Minnesota that I don't know about, hey, let me know. But all right. And a reminder too, the Morning Night Live is brought to you by you, the viewers of the Morning Night Live. I did not, again, this is 2 days in a row that I didn't tweet out my show. So I'm not even sure if people know we're here. So if any of you happen to be on the Twitter machines and want to tweet this out, or here's what you do. Right down there. Right down, well, if you're on a computer, it's down there. But if you're on a phone, it's kind of right here, that little share arrow. Hit the share arrow and tweet this out. And then I'm going to retweet whatever you tweet, and I might even throw it on Gavin and mine, since I forgot to do that this morning. And that would be greatly appreciated. Also, the like button's down there too. You can hit that. I think everyone here kind of has already done that. And then if you want to do super chats or want to really grab my attention, super chat through the Streamlabs link in the description below where you're watching this. All right, so let's kind of get into some news. The 70th anniversary of the Berlin airlift. It's just one of those historic events that people forget about. And I am sure that, but the people of Germany probably have never forgotten about that. In particular, the Berliners. Now, I know that another event happened, I think about 12 years later, when they started building the wall in Berlin. And that was also a traumatic event for the Germans. I think it's pretty amazing that, Germany was the cause of a great just upheaval in the world over 2 wars. And now they are really probably one of our great allies in Europe. But it's weird because now all of a sudden, they dominate the European Union, and you just go, is it just are the Germans just destined for that kind of stuff? I don't know, but I know that you ask most Germans, and they have a great appreciation for what the United States did them after war, when we really didn't have to do that. But I think the wisdom in that is that, we helped this country that has been so, well, again, like I said, they're responsible for so much upheaval in the world, and after a devastating defeat in war, we did so much for them, and I think that they appreciate it. Let's see, Pete. Let's see. Yet they refused to build statues to the man who killed Hitler. I don't know. I don't know that story. I guess I should probably learn that. So anyway, it might be worth more as a tax write-off if donated than actually selling it. It could be, because really, Pete was talking about the wheelchairs. That thing was like $5,900. It was a lot of money. And you go on Craigslist, you try to sell it, and people are selling them for like, there's a few people who put them on like for $2,000, but for the most part, you can tell the ones that are selling are all around between $800 and $1,000 for the wheelchair, and then the scooter, man, you'd be lucky if you get $200 for it. Now it was only about, I think the scooter, we might have got the scooter, I can't remember where we got it. We bought it from someone else, so that I'm not so worried about that. But yeah, the wheelchairs, those things are expensive. It's a really nice one. It's like a 6-wheel unit with the moving wheels, the power wheels in the middle, and then it has 2 sets of wheels for stability on both sides. It's pretty nice chair, but just what to do with it. Donating might be a good idea. We're looking at options. All right, let's get into some news here. A lot of people. I did not catch that. Oh my God. Okay, Pete, I got you. Since Since Hitler committed suicide, they would not build a statue to the man who killed Hitler. Why did I not catch that? That is hilarious. Okay, yeah, you're right. I don't think they will be building any statues to the man who killed Hitler. Oh, good morning, Maddie. I didn't see you there too. Hi, Maddie. I'm glad you're here. You got me. Okay, what's happened in the news? Well, we're still talking about this Ukraine thing, but now, I think this thing is starting to, it's all over the place because the news pundits are so adamant about making this about Trump supposedly breaking the law, or they're painting the narrative that Trump is asking for help in the coming election, asking for he's soliciting foreign interference, right? But the more they amplify that, the more we start to hear about Joe Biden. And so now, there's a whole bunch of things going on. First of all, Judicial Watch, which is they're conservative activists, I would call them, but they also are kind of government accountability activists, so to speak, mostly for conservative causes. And so now Judicial Watch is asking for records. They sue for the freedom of they are the masters of freedom of information requests. Well, Judicial Watch steps up, sues for records on firing of Biden Ukraine prosecutor. Joe Biden deserves a trophy for his audacity. That's by Tom Fitton. That's an editorial statement, but that's okay. But he's not going to escape serious scrutiny over his apparent threatening of the Ukraine government for his son's personal gain. We filed a Freedom of Information Act lawsuit for records about the firing of Ukraine's top prosecutor after then Vice President Biden threatened to withhold aid. We filed the lawsuit on Wednesday against the U.S. Department of State, Judicial Watch versus U.S. Department of State. We sued after, as per usual, the State Department failed to respond to our May 7, 2019 FOIA request seeking access to the following records. Now, one thing about Judicial Watch, they are consistent and they are persistent. They know how the courts works in all these FOIA request regards, and they are pretty masterful at getting documents that they want. So they're asking for the following records from the Department of State: any and all records concerning or related to Viktor Shokin's investigation of Mykola Zlochevsky and Shokin's resignation as Ukraine's prosecutor general, and any and all records of communication between any official, employee, or representative of the Department of State and any official, employee, or representative of the Office of the Vice President regarding Viktor Shokin. And then we know about the video where Joe Biden confirmed that he successfully pressured, under threat of withholding $1 billion in U.S. government aid, the Ukrainian government to fire Shokin, who had allegedly launched an investigation into Burisma, which had purportedly paid Biden's son Hunter $50,000 a month. Latest impeachment coup assault on President Trump is an obvious attempt to protect Joe Biden from the corruption scandals involving his son. Our lawsuit would be the first of many to try to get to the bottom of this influence peddling scandal. They really, it's funny because when the news media, when this first came out, and they said, there were people denying that Hunter Biden worked for the company at $50,000 a month, which is a fact. They denied that Joe Biden, they even denied Joe Biden said that he threatened them to withholding the $1 billion in loan guarantees. They denied he said it, and then when he's saying it on tape, they got him. They saw it. It's you gotta just click. In fact, look, watch here. We're gonna click. I'm gonna click the link he put here. I bet you it's the video. Let's see. Hey, Wall Street Journal. Here it is. Let's play this. Let's see what this one is. This is it. I bet it is. If it ever plays. Is my internet working?
I lost my sight.
Oh, we got a commercial. I don't want a commercial.
Independence. We built a guide that uses
Okay, we're gonna have to suffer through a commercial real quick. Sorry about that. That's what you get when you do things live and you don't pre-screen everything. Here we go. During a Council Foreign Relations discussion on January 3rd, 2018, former President Joe Biden spoke about...
I remember going over convincing our team, or others, to convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I said, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him.
That's funny because here's what Joe's doing in this particular instance. He is pumping up his foreign policy bona fides, right? But little does he know, this shit comes back to bite him, right? Because it's clearly a quid pro quo. Now, not necessarily, I'm not saying that for sure he was doing it to protect Hunter Biden, even though I don't know why. I have no idea why he wouldn't think that. But he's doing, in this clip, exactly what they're accusing Trump of doing, which Trump didn't say that, but that's what they're accusing him of you do what we tell you, or you're not getting this money, or you do what we tell you, we're not going to get these arms, or we're not going to do what you tell you, and you're not this for this, but you better do this first. And he's bragging about it now. The news media who says it didn't happen.
I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting $1 billion. I said, you're not getting $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid at the time.
Okay. Now that very well could have been something that the United States and some other allies in Europe wanted done, but he threatened them by withholding something. And so it's just, come on, Joe, you know you did it. Now that's getting scrutiny because the Democrats decided to make this call with Zelensky a huge deal. Also here, the other scrutiny that Biden's going to get is also going to be from the GOP senators who are pressing the Justice Department to investigate corrupt Clinton and Biden ties to Ukraine. Republican chairman of 2 Senate committees released a letter Monday asking Attorney General Bill Barr whether the Justice Department is pursuing any investigation into Ukraine's election year meddling. Now, remember, this is, the big thing before was, the Russians were meddling in the election for Trump. Well, there's also been some accusations of the Democrats trying to get some help from Ukraine. And so Senators Ron Johnson, Wisconsin, and Chuck Grassley, Iowa, urged the Department of Justice to investigate ties between Ukrainian operatives and Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign, saying they have concerns about foreign assistance in the 2016 election that has not been thoroughly addressed. They certainly addressed that old Russian mystery, right? But now, hello. They also asked the Department of Justice whether it had obtained incriminating documents related to the Burisma scandal involving Democratic presidential frontrunner Joe Biden and his son. Excuse me. In the letter, Johnson and Grassley asked the DOJ to follow up on Grassley's 2017 letter. 2017? This has been going on a long time. Highlighting brazen efforts by the Democratic National Committee and Hillary Clinton campaign to use the government of Ukraine for express purpose of finding negative information on then candidate Trump in order to undermine his campaign. So, I'm not going to read the rest. It just gives you more details about that in the rest of the article. Also, speaking of shining a light, Ukraine mystery. A Schiff staffer made an August visit for think tank backed by Hunter Biden's old employee. Oh my! How did this happen? A staffer for Representative Adam Schiff's House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence took a trip to Ukraine last month, sponsored and organized by the Atlantic Council think tank. The Atlantic Council is funded by and routinely works in partnership with, you guessed it, Burisma, the natural gas company at the center of allegations regarding Joe Biden and his son, Hunter Biden. The Schiff staffer, Thomas Eager, is also currently one of 19 fellows at the Atlantic Council's Eurasia Congressional Fellowship, a bipartisan program that says it educates congressional staff on current events in the Eurasia region. Eager's trip to Ukraine last month was part of a fellowship program that included 9 other House employees. The bipartisan visit from August 24th to August 31st was billed as a Ukraine study trip and culminated in a meeting with the former Ukrainian president, Petro Poroshenko. So, Schiff staff has some of his staff going over there for some reason. Now, it looks like it says it was a what trip? A study trip? Ukraine study trip, huh? I wonder what they were studying. All right, real quick. Oh, and one other funny thing. Speaking of trying to get dirt or political information from I won't call them an enemy. Ukraine's not an enemy. Russia's not even technically our enemy. Are they a competitor on the world stage? Yes, they are. But, if you listen for the last 3 years, you would think Russia is our biggest geopolitical foe, as Mitt Romney would say, right? Remember that debate question when Barack Obama and Mitt Romney were in the debate, and someone what's our greatest geopolitical issue right now, and Romney said, well, Russia, of course. And Barack Obama said, the 80s called and they want their foreign policy back. Well, how prophetic was Mitt Romney? But anyway, also a funny thing, this is a good little flashback. Speaking of American politicians looking to get dirt from a foreign entity, or what they call foreign election interference. Well, remember when Adam Schiff got punked? I know this is definitely a greatest hit. Flashback. Schiff caught telling Russian pranksters he'd take Ukrainian dirt on Trump. Florida Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz just resurfaced a 2-year-old audio tape of House Intel Committee Chairman Adam Schiff telling 2 Russian shock jocks that he would welcome the chance to take their non-existent dirty photos of President Trump. He was trying to get President Trump dick pics. If you recall, from February 2018, one of the radio hosts posed as a Ukrainian official who had information damaging to Trump and was willing to share it with Schiff. Gaetz is smart to bring this up now, with Schiff working hard to impeach Trump for a phone call in which he didn't actually pressure Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky into investigating Joe and Hunter Biden. With impeachment fever hitting triple digits in Washington, it's important to remember 3 things. Zelensky said his phone call with Trump was friendly, involved no pressure, and that virtually all the major news organizations clipped 540 words out of the middle of their conversation to make it appear otherwise. Also, Joe Biden bragged about pressuring Ukraine into firing an investigator, we just saw that video, looking into his son Hunter, by threatening to withhold billions of dollars worth of aid. And Schiff himself is no stranger to making shit up. I'm embellishing here. Then claiming it was just a prank when he got caught. Here's Gaetz's tweet with the audio of the phone call. Shall we listen, people? Let's listen to this.
What we have seen in that call record is a president of the United States use the full weight of his office to manufacture dirt on his opponent and interfere in our election.
Oh, but then Schiff, oh yeah.
So you
you have recordings of both Sobchak and Buseva where they're discussing the compromising material on Mr. Trump?
Absolutely.
Well, obviously, we would
Looking for a little
welcome
foreign
a chance to
interference.
get copies of those recordings.
It is illegal, improper, a violation of oath, a violation of his duty to defend our elections, our Constitution, for the president to merely ask for foreign interference.
So Schiff wanted foreign interference and says it's unethical for the president to ask for foreign interference. Okay, so let's see. So here's what he was saying. He's saying, so you have recordings of both Russian journalists, Sobchak, and Russian model and singer Olga Buzova, where they're discussing the compromising material on Mr. Trump. Schiff asked the callers, posing as Pura B or something like that. Absolutely, one of the pranksters responded. Well, obviously, we would welcome a chance to get a copy of those recordings, Schiff said later in the call, after he said the fake Pura B go on to, or he and the fake Pura B go on to discuss more details of the bogus allegations. One of the hosts bragged at the time that they'd given Schiff a bunch of disinformation and described the call as completely absurd. Not that you can tell from anything Schiff said, even though you'd hope that the House Intel chair would have a better nose for sniffing out bad intel. You want to know the really fun part? Schiff spent years pushing the fake Russian collusion allegations, but shock jocks Vladimir Vovin Kuznetsov and Alexei Lexus Stolyarov have close ties with the Kremlin. That would be Vladimir Putin's Kremlin. You know, the one Trump was supposed to have gotten help from to steal the election. Only here, we hear Schiff, unknowingly but still, offering to accept help, aid, and comfort from genuine Kremlin tools. Schiff's spokesman told the Atlantic hyperpartisan Julia Eoff last year that before agreeing to take the call and immediately following it, the committee informed appropriate law enforcement and security personnel of the conversation. Yeah, I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did. And our belief was that it was probably bogus. Really? Send me the naked pics, he said. Anyway, yeah, so Adam Schiff wanted to see Trump naked. That's what I'm saying. That's what he wanted. He wanted to see Trump naked. Alrighty then. So what else we got today? We're running. Wow, I'm way ahead of schedule today. So, I didn't need that. Let's do that. What did I pull this? Oh, there's been a little bit of dispute on the rules for whistleblower laws, and some say that there were some changes made to how you could do it and the types of forms you can fill out. Oh my gosh, so unprofessional. And some are saying that that they didn't do that. There's kind of an argument. So right now, there are lawmakers on Capitol Hill who want to find out. They want to know the truth on this. And so this article, top lawmakers tell Intel Community Inspector General come clean on secret changes to whistleblower rules. Lawmakers of both chambers wrote to the Intelligence Community Inspector General on Monday demanding answers about why his office secretly eliminated a requirement that whistleblower complaints contain first-hand evidence. Republican lawmakers in both the Senate and House on Monday could demand answers from the Intelligence Community Inspector General about secret revisions to the office's guidance on urgent concern and whistleblower complaints. The Federalist first reported last week that between May 2018 and August 2019, the ICIG secretly eliminated its requirement that potential whistleblowers provide only first-hand evidence of alleged wrongdoings. Now, the reason that's important is because originally you could not give second-hand information; you had to have first-hand evidence. In their letters to Michael Atkinson, the ICIG representatives Kevin McCarthy and Devin Nunes and Jim Jordan noted that the anti-Trump complainant offered no direct first-hand evidence of alleged wrongdoing against President Donald Trump. It said the complaint is littered with gossipy, hearsay, and rumor, and mainstream media articles. The lawmakers specifically asked the ICIG to explain when the whistleblower guidance was revised, by whom, and for what reason. Based on the language, on May 24, 2018, the forum, it appears that the requirement for first-hand information had been an ICIG policy, regardless of how a whistleblower makes an urgent concern report. They wrote, curiously, the urgent disclosure form that now appears on the Office of the Director of National Intelligence website has recently changed and no longer contains this explicit first-hand information requirement. Timing the removal of the first-hand information requirement raises questions about potential connections to this whistleblower's complaint, and the lawmakers continued. This timing, along with numerous apparent leaks of classified information about the context of this complaint, also raised questions about a potential criminality in the handling of these matters. So they just got to get down to the bottom of it. When do they want? When did this change made? Was it made with a political idea in mind, and was it specifically just to find ways to tie up the Trump administration with BS? Oh, I don't know. So, are y'all still here? I'm hoping I'm streaming here. Looks like I am. Yes, I am. Okay, everything's going fine, and I bet you can even hear me. By the way, a quick question for you all in the chat is, I always have a hard time telling, is the music level too loud today? I'm looking at my monitor. It looks like it's about right, but I'm hoping that it's not too loud and too distracting. All right, let's, now, one of the things I wanted to do today, because I wasn't going to burden myself with just articles. I want to kind of scan through Twitter a little bit, because a lot of times you hear breaking news. So let's just get in Twitter. Okay, y'all are here. Good. All right. Good. Let's see. It's October 1st. You know what that means. This is kind of funny. I'll just put this up because it's funny. It's October 1st. And you know what that means. Here we go. Up. Whoop. Time to put up the decorations. No, it's not time to put up Christmas decorations. Although, oh my gosh. I was in Walmart yesterday. And in the back, the Christmas stuff is coming out already. Just in the back, just the stuff you can buy. So maybe I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me. It's already time for the Christmas stuff. All right, let's see. Let's just scan through a little bit here. Did I ever even put that on the screen? I did have that on the screen, right? People putting up the Christmas decorations. All right, see, there she goes, and oof. That's actually a pretty good. That's a pretty good effect. I'm trying to figure out. I don't see a jump cut in it though, but pretty amazing. All right, what else we got here? What else is going on? Oh, 2 days to your birthday. Your birthday's coming up. Oh, I'm okay. Don't let me forget that. Let's see. Today's Tuesday. So Thursday. Thursdays. Well, Friday is my son's birthday, Lindsay. That's pretty cool. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Oh, that's okay. Regardless of what your idea on this is, I just saw something that Ranting Monkey commented on. Alyssa Milano commented on. Alyssa Milano says the constitutional right to abortion may be coming to an end. On 10/1, the Supreme Court will meet to decide whether to hear a case that could leave little left of Roe versus Wade standing. Okay. Of course, it's a Vox article. Let's see what this is about. The fight to end Roe versus Wade enters its end game next week. It's alarmist. I wonder, because both Gorsuch and Kavanaugh talked about maintaining precedent when it came to Roe versus Wade. So it's going to be interesting how they, of course, everything that they do right now, and that's one of the reasons they need Trump to get out of there. Here's my theory on why this impeachment thing is coming up and why they're trying to not only get Trump, but maybe even Pence and Barr and whatever. If they do that, that is absolutely just a coup. Because then who's the next in line to be president? Oh, Nancy Pelosi. Oh, that would be an absolute coup. In a sense, using political reasons to remove the president from office. But so here's this Vox article. The Supreme Court could dismantle the constitutional right to an abortion, and all it has to do is sit on its hands. The constitutional right to an abortion. You know, when they say that, the constitutional right, at least in the principle of Roe versus Wade, is not the constitutional right to abortion, but the constitutional right to the privacy of your interactions with you and your doctor. Now, the effect is that it gives you a, quote, constitutional right to an abortion. Certainly not something that was in the Bill of Rights or any of the subsequent bills. Now, they would, to actually have that as an explicit right, they would have to write that in somehow and get it passed through, what is it? I think it's 2/3 majority in the Congress and Senate and 2/3 of the states, which ain't happening. I don't know if that's ever, maybe it happened, who knows? But the constitutional right to an abortion is almost certainly coming to an end. The only question is how long the Supreme Court's new majority will take to kill it off. It's not likely to be very long. On October 1st, the Supreme Court will meet to decide whether to hear a case that could have little or if any hear a case that could leave little if any of this right standing. For years, Justice Anthony Kennedy held the balance on a Supreme Court divided between four staunch opponents of this right and four supporters. His replacement, Justice Brett Kavanaugh, looks ready to change that. Just months after joining the court, Kavanaugh wrote an opinion seeking to shrink abortion rights. Well, I'm curious, he wrote an opinion seeking to shrink them? How? I'm not sure what that means. Nor is Chief Justice John Roberts the closest thing this court has to a swing vote likely to vote in favor of abortion rights out of respect for precedent. In 2007, Gonzalez versus Carhart decided less than 2 years after Roberts joined the Supreme Court. Roberts voted to uphold a ban on so-called partial birth abortions. That was very similar to a law the Supreme Court struck. Stenberg versus Carhart. Struck down just 7 years earlier. The salient difference between Gonzalez and the earlier case, Stenberg versus Carhart, wasn't any difference between the two laws. It was the fact that the court's personnel had changed, and the new majority with Roberts as Chief Justice was far less protective of the women's right, or the right to protective right to an abortion. Litigators on both sides of the abortion debate, in other words, are now experiencing deja vu, except that the court's current majority is even more hostile to abortion rights than the one that decided Gonzalez. Well, whatever. So anyway, the court's going to take this up, or the court, let's see. Here, let's go. Why Roe's on the line? Yes, it's precedent according to constitutional. It's about allowing abortions within a specified time limit. Yes, yep. It's a constitutional law giving women the right to an abortion. There is not a constitutional law giving women a right to an abortion. Yes, that's correct. It's based on precedent. I know that. All right. Why Roe's on the line? Throughout the year, the justices met periodically to decide if they want to add more cases to the short list of lawsuits that are argued before the court. October 1st is the court's long conference, the annual meeting where justices consider the backlog of petitions that were filed while the court was on its summer break, each of which asks the court to hear a particular case. One of these petitions concerns June Medical Services versus G, a case involving a Louisiana abortion restriction that will be very familiar to anyone who's followed the last several years of abortion litigation. To recap, 3 years ago, in Whole Woman Health versus Hellerstedt, the Supreme Court considered a Texas law that imposed burdens of restrictions on abortion clinics that, at least on the surface, appeared to be ordinary health regulations, or maybe were ordinary health regulations if you have any other type of facility, whatever. One provision required a physician performing an abortion in Texas to have admitting privileges at a nearby hospital, a credential that's especially difficult for abortion providers to attain. What? Why is that? If you run a clinic, you have any other kind of clinic, you have admitting privileges. What if something goes wrong where you need to have admit? Oh my God. Anyway, that's fight. Another required abortion clinics to maintain expensive facilities such as full surgical suite with an operating room. Now that might be restrictive if you don't need that type of equipment to do the procedure, but I'm confused. Whole Woman's Health was a challenge to what abortion rights advocates often refer to as targeted restrictions on abortion providers, or TRAP laws that masquerade as efforts to make abortion safer, but with a real purpose to drive up the cost of operating abortion clinics until they shut down. And so maybe the surgical room is part of that. The admitting privileges, I'm not so sure about. I don't know why you wanted that. But anyway, that article goes on and on, and we're not going to keep reading because it's I don't know what it is. Anyway, good morning, Marsupio Gamer. Good morning, Maniac Man. And the gayest person on YouTube. I think I said hi. All right. Let's see. What else we got here? Oh, we can skip that. The stream has a notable lack of boobs. Yeah, you know, we got did a little boob streaming yesterday. Although there weren't any on the screen. You all were just talking about it in the chat. Everyone was talking about boobs. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Biden's lead in the Real Clear Politics tracker is down 4.2 points, easily down to 4.2 points, easily the smallest margin he's had to date. Okay. What else? Let's see. Okay, so I'm concerned with aspects. Mike Pompeo has something up here. Let's put this on screen real quick here. Let's go. Does that work? There we go. Twitter. All right, so this says, Mike Pompeo, I'm concerned with aspect of the committee's request that can be understood only as an attempt to intimidate, bully, and treat improperly the distinguished professionals of the Department of State, including career foreign service officers. What is this? I can't get it. Here we go. So let's see. Dear Mr. Chairman. Oh, that's his letter of concern. Apparently they've asked for people from the State Department to testify before Congress, and he's saying, let me be clear, I will not tolerate such tactics, and I will use all means at my disposal to prevent and expose any attempts to intimidate the dedicated professionals who I am proud to lead and serve alongside the Department of State. Okay. I did not do any boob streaming yesterday. Y'all were in the chat. We're talking about boobs. I was not doing any boob streaming. I did. First of all, no one wants to see me even close to naked, except for my wife. And I just whatever. All right. Let's see. Bill Maher, white liberals have to start talking to me when I tell them you can't be more offended than the victim. I thought this was actually a pretty good video. Here, we'll actually play this. This is Bill Maher from this Friday. I don't know if you get a strike for this or not. He put it on Twitter, though. I don't know why you would be. If I talk about it, maybe I won't get in trouble for this. Who knows? So let's put this one up here. Because this is, that comedian that got fired from Saturday Night Live, people were mad that at Angry Yang, people were mad at Andrew Yang for basically not giving a shit. Okay, so here's Bill Maher. Maybe we can let's see how loud this is.
And finally, new rule: white liberals have to start listening to me when I tell them you can't be more offended than the victim. It happened again last week when presidential contender Andrew Yang faced criticism because he said that SNL should not have fired comedian Shane Gillis over racist comments Gillis made about Asians. That's when the internet did what it does best and deemed Yang a racist for not being offended. Because if he wasn't offended, well, someone had to be.
And that's the case. People are mad at Yang. They're mad at Yang because Yang didn't give a shit. Nothing worse when nothing annoys me more when someone is so offended by something on my behalf that they dismiss the fact that I'm not offended by something. It's like, you know what? Everyone's individuals that have different opinion about things. Can I not be offended by that? Whatever whatever you're talking about.
There was a study done last year where people were asked to rate their feelings about various races, and white liberals were the only group that has a bias against themselves. They want to hang out only with
it's
people
true.
who are not.
You know what? Look, I'm not a fan of Bill Maher. I think he's a jackass too. But guess what? He's right sometimes. And boy, broken clock time is here, baby. Just telling you.
Them. That's like your mother preferring the neighbor's kids. There is a weird self-loathing going on among white liberals, and it's not helping anyone. Lifting up those whose society has cheated or forsaken, that's liberalism. Hating all things white is just tedious virtue signaling. You look like Justin Timberlake in Bad Teacher.
I just hate slavery so much. Slavery's the worst. If I could go back in time and undo slavery, I would. I hate it.
I know people like that. It'd be out of the blue too. It'd be like, wow. I'm glad you hate it so much. I've never been one, so don't ask me about it.
The answer to mass incarceration is to stop putting undeserving blacks in prison, not to put more white people in Twitter jail. Every thought needs a disclaimer now. The other day I heard a guy say, I realize I'm only speaking as a white male and I acknowledge our tragic history of oppression, but you left your lights on. Look, white privilege is real, and yes, you have some advantages for being white. But you also have some disadvantages. Many of you were born with a terrible personality.
Yeah, that was funny.
I didn't ask for
That was
that.
funny.
Thank you.
You know what?
No, that's. I'll fire the director. But folks, you don't need to advertise it. What's with the I'm embarrassed to be white subgenre on the internet? I'm finding myself constantly embarrassed to be white. I'm watching Tall Girl. I've never been so embarrassed to be white. Retweet if you're embarrassed to be white.
Yeah, that's annoying too. Bill's speaking my language right now. Y'all, I'm sorry. That's just.
Me and I feel so much shame.
You be you. If you're white, you be you.
You think it's hard being a black man in a white man's world? Try being a white woman who feels bad about you being a black man in a white man's world. Look, none of us chose to be born white. Not even Ed Sheeran. So just stop. Because you know what might be the worst part of white shame? You bore the fuck out of black people at parties.
Yeah. Yeah. Or on the internet. Look, all right, we're not gonna watch the rest of that, but you know what? Well, again, with my audience, I don't think that's a problem, but it's white privilege is a construct used to silence opinions. And yeah, in some way, it certainly is. You know, look, I've lived a long time. I know that. What's my point? I don't even know what the hell my point's gonna be. The self-loathing thing though is just, it's almost comical sometimes though. It just is. All right, what else can I find here? Oh, Robert Miller is going back to his old firm, Wilmer Hale. Probably doesn't remember how to get there, but he's going back. What else we got? Grandma's countries to cooperate with Barr and Probe Russia. Yeah, they're starting to go into. So here's the thing. Bill Barr was just in Italy. I think he's looking for Joseph Mifsud. We've talked about Joseph Mifsud a few times. The person that they supposedly told George Papadopoulos about having dirt on Hillary Clinton or Hillary Clinton emails or something. Anyway, Mifsud's this kind of the dude, and he's lied 3 times to the FBI, but he did not get indicted somehow. Mifsud's the guy that they're trying to find to get just information on how all this stuff started to happen. And then there's also Andrew Downer, the Australian diplomat, who they're trying to get information from Australia. And there's some people kind of upset about this. It's like, oh, now we're trying to get foreign assistance from all these countries. No, they're trying to find out if you assholes broke the law. Okay? Because we've had the whole probe on Trump for 2.5 years, but now, how did that shit start? And so it's time to really investigate and find out, how much is true? Did the information you used to get the FISA warrants, for example, how did that happen? Okay? Did you do that illegally? Because I'm going to bet you when they really get down to it, the FISA warrants were illegal. Shh, that's a conspiracy theory that you're not supposed to say out loud, even though it is probably 100% correct. So I'm whispering it just to be safe. Just to be safe, okay? I'm doing my ASMR on conspiracies, right? Anyway, so, all right. What else? Uh-oh. Oh, yeah. You know, I'm just flipping through Twitter, seeing what people are saying, and this is a good one. Elizabeth Warren not only claimed to be Cherokee in contributing recipes to the Pow Wow Chow cookbook, but seems to have directly plagiarized the Native American recipes from Pierre Franey of the New York Times. Oh my. Oh my. Let's take a look at this thread. Oh, is that a screenshot? Okay, let's take a look. All right, so here it is. So this is the Pow Wow Chow cookbook. This is, now first of all, so I'm sure you've heard of the Pow Wow Chow cookbook, where Elizabeth Warren, who contributed a recipe. Look, down here in the corner, you can see my little arrow moving, right? See the little arrow down there moving? Elizabeth Warren, Cherokee. Now, here's the problem. The Cherokee Indian tribe generally, in fact, I wouldn't even say generally are in the southern western plains states of Oklahoma, northern Texas, and maybe part of Nebraska and Kansas and whatnot. And Elizabeth Warren, Cherokee, submits a recipe for cold omelets with crab meat. Shall I repeat that for you? Elizabeth Warren, Cherokee, a tribe that generally resides in the southern Midwest states near like Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, northern Texas, whatnot. Cold omelets with crab meat. Where did the Cherokees of Elizabeth Warren, Cherokee, get crab meat from? This is the Pow Wow Chow cookbook. But apparently this cold omelets with crab meat recipe wasn't a Cherokee recipe, but it was a New York Times recipe that she seems to have plagiarized. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. So here's okay, now someone here replying to Nathan Robin put a, let's see, Pow Wow Chow cookbook. Let's see here. This is the Elizabeth Warren wiki. On April 27, 2012, Boston Herald reported that in the late 1990s, Harvard Law School had touted Elizabeth Warren as being a Native American faculty member. On May 1, 2012, according to the Boston Herald, the Warren campaign offered two pieces of evidence it said supported Ms. Warren's claim of Native American ancestry. The first piece of evidence was a statement by genealogist Chris Child of the New England Historical Genealogy Society that Warren might be 132nd Cherokee. That claim based on a type of documentation which did not exist at the time in question. Later was withdrawn as lacking evidence. The second piece of evidence was the Warren campaign offered to reporters was an undated article from the Muskogee Phoenix about the contributions of Elizabeth Warren's first cousin, Mrs. James P. Rousey, to the Five Civilized Tribe Museum in Muskogee, Oklahoma, as proof of Ms. Warren's Native American ancestry. The campaign also hastily produced an undated newspaper clip last night of the Muskogee Sunday Phoenix detailing a Mrs. James P. Rousey, who they said is Warren's cousin, and her involvement in the Five Civilized Tribes Museum, which is dedicated to preserving Native American art. Mrs. James Rousby was Elizabeth's cousin, shared the grandparents in question, a campaign official said in the statement. Investigative reporter Michael Patrick Leahy traced Miss Rousey to a book titled Pow Wow Chow, a collection of recipes for families of the Five Civilized Tribes: Cherokee, Chickasaw, Choctaw, Creek, and Seminole. So maybe, the Seminoles in the Creek, southeast of the United States, so that they roamed out, but the Cherokee didn't. In the Pow Wow Chow cookbook were recipes allegedly authored by Warren, as reported by the Daily Mail. The alleged recipes, the allegedly Cherokee recipe included cold omelets with crab meat, crab with mayonnaise dressing, herb tomatoes, and Mexican oatmeal soup. Why would Mexican oatmeal soup? Boston radio host Howie Carr discovered that 3 of Warren's recipes appeared to be plagiarized. The 2 recipes, cold omelets with crab meat and crab with tomato mayonnaise dressing, appeared in an article titled Cold Omelets with Crab Meat, written by Pierre Franey of the New York Times News Service, that was published in the August 22nd, 1979 edition of the Virgin Island Daily News, a copy of which can be seen at that link, which I'm not going to click. Ms. Warren's 1984 recipe for crab with tomato mayonnaise dressing is a word-for-word copy of Mr. Franey's 1979 recipe. Ms. Warren's 1984 recipe for cold omelets with crab meats contained all 4 of the ingredients listed in Mr. Franey's 1979 recipe in the exact same portion, but lists 5 additional ingredients. More significantly, her instructions are virtually a word-for-word copy of Mr. Franey's instructions from his 1979 article. Both instructions specify the use of a 7-inch Teflon pan. Ms. Warren's instructions are word-for-word copies of Mr. Franey's 1970 instructions for this recipe, with one exception. Ms. Warren says, let cook until firm and lightly brown. And Mr. Franey says, let cook until firm and lightly browned. Emphasis added. The third potentially plagiarized recipe, herbed tomatoes, appears to be copied from this 1959 recipe from Better Homes and Gardens. Oh my gosh! Elizabeth Warren, dear, what are you doing? Other family members of Warren submitted recipes, none of which appeared to be authentically Native American or Cherokee. Warren's husband, Bruce Mann, who never has claimed to be Native American, also listed himself as Cherokee and provided a recipe for Oriental beef stir fry. Oh my God! Well, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. All right, it's been said that the indigenous or Native Americans weren't necessarily indigenous, right? So they said that there's a good chance that through time there was a land bridge from Asia to North America, and the people traveled over the land bridge, right? They traveled over the land bridge and then ended up populating North America. And so it kind of makes sense that if you were part of a human experience, that heritage came from Asia and crossed over the land bridge, there is absolutely a possibility that a recipe for Oriental beef stir fry would be appropriate in the Pow Wow Chow cookbook. Oh my. Man's recipe. Oh, but this one, but this recipe was plagiarized also. Man's recipe previously appeared word for word in the Oswego, New York Paladin Times on January 24th, 1983, the year before Pow Wow Chow was published. So they didn't. Oh my God! Some authentic Oriental beef stir fry from the Cherokees, right? Because that land bridge thing, right? Okay. There you go. Hi, Max Del Rio. Hi, Irish Rose. And I think I already said she. Oh, Straight Sith Mail. How you doing? Good morning. So yeah, I'm just saying that land bridge is a hell of a thing, and they brought that Oriental beef stir fry must be an ancient recipe handed down for centuries. It became part of Cherokee heritage, and they were, I'm pretty sure the Cherokees were just like, I don't know who thought of this thing, this bowl-looking cooking pot that you can, kind of like who knew the Cherokee brought the woks over the land bridge from 10,000 years ago when they supposedly came across the land bridge. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. All right, it's time for Twitter trends. Let's find out what's happening in the world today, because you know, I just gotta know, right? We want to know what people are gonna be talking about for the rest of the day. So I'm gonna click a couple clickies here. Clicky click, clickety click, click click. Oh, and trending number 1 on Twitter today is October 1st. October 1st is finally here. I don't recall that the other months have that first day of the month thing trending, but October 1st is trending. Dust off your broomsticks. Halloween month has arrived. Now, I don't know if I should assume this or not, but if you know what this GIF is depicting, let me know in the chat. I know what it is because I used to watch reruns of this particular show. Actually, wait a minute. When I was really, really young, were they still making? I don't know if they were still making the show. I know I watched reruns of the show for years when I was a kid, because reruns were a big thing. I bet you it might even be on TV Land, or one of those stations. If you know what this is, just type it in the chat quickly. All right. And it's the month of Halloween. It's time to go decorate the house. Happy October 1st, friends, and so on. Lots of people talking about Halloween. It's their favorite thing. All right. And I am going to do a pumpkin video again this year. Last year I did a pumpkin video on my other channel, Marty's Big Journey. And I'm gonna do some pumpkin carving here in the old fan room and videotape it in hyperlapse speed, and we'll do that again. That was fun last year. I got some new designs, and we're gonna make some cool pumpkins. I might even cut one. They're having a pumpkin carving contest at my wife's work, and she wants me to do it, but whatever. All right, so happy October 1st. Trending number 2 on Twitter today is the Tuesday motivation. That's the first Tuesday thing. Let's see if we can pick one. Treat today like a birthday present you always wanted as a kid, but your parents couldn't afford. You can't believe that you actually received it, and you've never been more grateful for anything you've ever received in your life. Well, each day should be like. That's Donnie Wahlberg of Wahlburgers and New Kids on the Block and Blue Bloods. Is that Blue Bloods the show he's on? Donnie Wahlberg, the entertainer, wrote that. Just treat today like the birthday present you always wanted as a kid. All right. Oh, good Lord. Justice for Eric Garner. Okay, I am Pepper Oceana Lewis. I'm a Bernie supporter. I support Bernie's campaign with monthly donations, talking to my friends and family and strangers about voting for him, making these collages of people for Bernie. Please introduce yourself on my thread. I'm going to pass. And your name is Justice for Eric Garner. I still got to do that Eric Garner video. Eric Garner was not choked to death. He died, though, for taxes. That's all I'm saying. Because the governor and the governor of New York, the mayor of New York, wanted those cigarette taxes, and they weren't going to let people sell loosies on the street. But his death was completely unintentional, and it's obvious from the video if you actually watch the video closely. But it's tragic either way. He didn't need to die. Of course, part of it, when he resisted arrest and exerted himself heavily, he had a severe asthma attack that caused a heart attack, and that's what it says in the coroner report. Now, the coroner report also says something about the pressure on his neck, temporarily may have had a factor in his asthma attack. But you watch the video and you watch it closely, you realize that Eric Garner was not in a chokehold and did not die from the chokehold, where some people want you to believe that the officer that supposedly put him in a chokehold held on to that chokehold until Garner was dead. Not the case. Easily provable, easily seeable from the video. But in any case, it's unfortunate. It's so sad that man died, even regardless of what his past was or whatever. He didn't need to die for cigarette taxes. All right. Anything else? We're done with the Tuesday feelings. Number 3 trending. I am the whistleblower. Oh, that's cute. Let's see what that is. We are the whistleblower. whistleblower. We are prepared to testify. You know why I am the whistleblower matters? It's how we stand up to say that if you come for a patriotic American doing their duty to protect us, you come for all of us. It's also how we let the whistleblower and others like him or her know that they don't have to be afraid. You know, this is not a whistleblower. It's funny. I occasionally watch Jimmy Dore videos, even though I disagree with his politics. He does make sense sometimes. This CIA person, if they were a true whistleblower, would be, they would be talking about bad shit the CIA did, not spying on the president. Now, I just use that word spying. I don't know if I'm using it loosely or just appropriately, but in any case, this was, oh my God, it's not a whistleblower. This is someone who's leaking information he was put there to leak information to the Congress and whatnot. And honestly, I go through that call. I still go through that call and I say, okay, maybe not a good look, but nothing illegal, no quid pro quos, nothing explicit in there that tells you what happened. It's just the narrative that they paint about that whole call with Trump and Zelensky is a narrative. It's a narrative they're trying to push because they want to impeach him. They want to hold him up. They've hated Trump since the day he announced his candidacy for president. And they thought, oh, well, as a joke, we're going to pump him up, and then he goes and beats your candidate who supposedly it was her turn. They mad. All right, so let's see. It may look like I'm just playing with a fish game, but I am the whistleblower. Oh, so that's trending. Raise your hand if you're among the millions who've spoken out against Trump's lies, hates, and crimes. You got to show me the crime, buddy. I still say this. You give me a specific crime, including the statute, and if you can prove that the crime was committed, I'm with you. But no one's done that yet. Nobody's done that yet. Sorry. You haven't been able to do it. Ed Asner. Some of you are old enough to know who Ed Asner is. Yep, he's in there. Yes, this is metaphoric. I am the whistleblower. So people are excited about the whistleblower, but the whistleblower is blowing up in Joe Biden's face. I'll tell you that right now. Sorry. Zuckerberg's trending. Uh-oh. In leaked audio, Mark Zuckerberg rallies Facebook. Hello. Wait, what? In 2 hours of leaked audio, Mark Zuckerberg rallies Facebook employees against critics, competitors, and the U.S. government. Oh. July should have been a relief for Facebook. The company accepted a $5 billion fine from the Federal Trade Commission over privacy issues after having essentially set the terms of the agreement itself. They wrote their own agreement. It settled the case with the Securities and Exchange Commission, which alleged that it had misled investors about the risk of user data being mishandled. What? Mishandled? You know exactly how you plan on handling that. For a relatively paltry $100 million. And Facebook reported stellar quarterly earnings on July 24th, beating investor expectations and setting a stock price up. But inside the company, the mood remains anxious. It should. I don't go on Facebook hardly at all anymore. Several 2020 presidential candidates, led by Senator Elizabeth Warren, had called for Facebook to be broken up. Libra, a Facebook-created cryptocurrency, had run into strong resistance from regulators around the world who worried that it could destabilize the global financial system. Employees had questions about Zuckerberg himself. Why had the CEO declined multiple requests to appear at government hearings in Europe? You know, why? Problem is he doesn't have to. He could try. They can try. You try to block Facebook in Europe, you get unelected. And worries about Facebook's increasingly dim reputation among their peers. These questions were raised at 2 open meetings with employees in July. The Verge obtained 2 hours of audio from the meeting, which include extended question and answer sessions between Zuckerberg and his employees in language that is often more candid than he typically uses in his public comments. Zuckerberg seeks to rally the company against Facebook's competitors, critics, and the U.S. government. So we're not going to listen to that. It's 2 hours of listening to data talk, and I'm not interested. But he's trending because of it. Let's see, what are people saying on Twitter about him? Well, there's a story. Warren slams Facebook after Zuckerberg says in leaked audio that it would face challenge if she wins in 2020. Okay. Hey, it's just Zuckerberg, the guy who controls exactly which stories hundreds of millions of people see every day, coming out against Elizabeth Warren. Nothing scary or alarming about that, so move along. Nothing to see here. Yeah, it's funny how everyone's all worried about foreign election interference. Imagine how much power between Facebook, Instagram, Google, YouTube, and Apple have in the next election, and how much interference they can run just by what stories make it into the algorithms, which stories come at the top of search results. Ooh, they got way too much power just because of that. They have the power of the information. They have the information. So lots of people talking about Zuckerberg. Donald Trump has more fans on Facebook than any other presidential candidate, and Fox News drives more interactions on its Facebook page than any other news outlet in the world. It's not even close. Zuckerberg's statement after the meeting. So, are they going to throttle those 3 parts of their site? When Facebook got criticized by the right in 2016, Zuckerberg scrambled to have a summit with right-wing pundits while his platform was being used by Russia to spread right-wing disinformation. Oh my God, Ben Rhodes, you are golden. Yes, the Facebook ads that changed the election. Right-wing disinformation. Oh my God. Okay, we're going to do a Russian Facebook ad stream or video or something. Holy F. Holy F. Okay, enough about Zuckerberg. Oh, good Lord. Jimmy Carter's trending. Oh, okay. You know, anytime someone that old trends, you're like, you got that, the Denzel meme comes out. I'm sure it's in here, so I'll bet you if I scroll long enough, we're going to see the Denzel meme. And if we don't, I might have to put it up myself. And I'm not my personal opinion, Carter was a terrible president, but a great ex-president if you forget about his political activism. But on a is he a good human being scale, I think Carter is up there with just about anybody as far as his post-presidential activities, especially his untiring work with Habitat for Humanity. I just think Jimmy Carter's a good man. Terrible president. I disagree with him politically, but he's a good man. So happy 95th birthday to James Earl Carter, the son of a peanut farmer who served as America's 39th president. He turns 95 today. He is the oldest living former U.S. president, a title once held by the late George H.W. Bush, who died in late 2018 at 94. So happy birthday, James Earl Carter, former president of the United States. Who else is trending? Inktober. Time to put on your creative hats for Inktober. Have your pens and brushes ready. Okay, I've never heard of this. Oh, that's pretty cool. Apparently there's something about making stuff on paper with ink and pen. So there's some cool stuff in here. Some little anime, little whatever the hell that is. People drawing drawings with pen and ink. So pretty cool stuff. All right, happy Inktober. Moving on. Number 8, FAFSA is trending. Is it that time of year that you got to start filling out FAFSA? Bitch, FAFSA already open? I did that shit like yesterday. I guess FAFSA is open. Collect that money from the government because they're definitely collecting it from you. Oh my God. You know, I hate to break it to you, but FAFSA, at least in our case, but we got to take out some student loans. But yeah, if you have any student who's getting ready for college or getting ready for their second semester or whatever, you fill out the federal student aid at FAFSA online. You fill it out for 2020 to 2021. So for next year, it's so get especially if you're a high school senior, you need to fill that out. But you fill it out every year if you have a college student. So there you go. So fill that out. Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween is October 1st, not October 31st. What the hell? Okay, well, some people are going to celebrate Halloween all month. Moving on. Independence Day. Why is Independence Day trending? There's no light to watch your president's Independence Day speech, so you go to buy fuel. On your way to buy fuel, you get stopped by the men in black because you own an iPhone. You get shot because you don't have money to give them. The country is killed. What does that even mean? There's no light to watch. Oh, okay. I have no idea. Happy Independence Day, my people. Oh, is it Nigerian Independence Day? Oh, it's Nigerian. I don't know my Nigerian holiday celebrations, whatever. The 1st of October marks Nigerian Independence Day as well as the start of Black History Month. What? Black History Month where? It was only right that I pulled out the most iconic Nigeria shirt for the 2018 World Cup. That was their, whatever. So anyways, Nigerian Independence Day is trending on Twitter. I should know that. I'll have to talk to my family today and learn more about Nigerian Independence Day. Spooky something here. Spooky season. Okay, spooky season is trending. Oh, dude. What the hell? Okay, it's spooky season. Hey, if they're pushing Christmas 3 months out, we can celebrate Halloween a few weeks early. Yeah, you're right. You ain't lying. All right, so spooky season because of Halloween. It's October, of course. New month and Gigi Hadid. Why is Gigi Hadid trending? A woman jumped on the runway during Chanel's show. And Gigi Hadid was having none of it. Oh my gosh. This woman just walked up on the runway and started walking with the models. That's a bold move. Women crashes the Chanel runway until Gigi Hadid puts an end to her fashion dreams. A woman hopped up on the Chanel runway in Paris Fashion Week and walked with the models, showing off the French fashion house's latest collection. Gigi Hadid managed to get the woman off stage with the help of other models. I want to see her getting her off the stage, though. That's what I want to see. I keep seeing her jumping on the stage. Okay, maybe they'll show it here. So here come the models. Where's the one who jumped on stage? This is the 1 minute. Okay, let's watch this one. There's what she jumps on. But I want to see them pushing her off the stage. That's it. That's bold too. Cheerleaders, 20-year-olds. Okay, where they get her off the stage. All right, well, forget it. Anyway, that's kind of funny. All right, so that's why Gigi Hadid is trending. All right, let's see. Then we're finished out. Instead of vaping, Tuesday morning, Vegas strong. What the hell? Vegas, what's happened? Never got a motive. Okay, people are talking about the Vegas shooting. So here is Julian Castro. 2 years ago, a gunman in Las Vegas took the lives of 58 people, the deadliest shooting in modern U.S. history. Since then, the House has worked to pass gun reform, and Mitch McConnell has refused to do anything. We must act to prevent history from repeating itself. Vegas strong. Nothing you passed would do anything. Sorry, I'm just saying. Let's see. And we still never got a motive in that one. It's funny how they've never. Isn't it weird? They'll talk about that Vegas one, but they still haven't. They bring up a motive for everybody, right? Don't they usually come up with something, white wing extremist, white wing this and that, or whatever? But for the Vegas shooting, nothing. It's crickets. They don't tell you anything, and I wonder why that is. The search for a motive can make us blind to the obvious. We may never know what drove a man to mass murder. We do know that with an AR-15 and bump stock modifications, 58 people were killed 2 years ago today. Motive still a question. Means it's didn't they outlaw bump stocks? Okay, which I still don't know how that helps anything really. That guy was determined to do what you can. You don't need a bump stock. You can take a belt and something. I've seen people just improvise if you really, really, really want to make it be like a machine gun or whatever. And of course, every town is all over it. And there's the pictures of the 58 and honor guard and bagpipes prepared for Vegas Strong Remembrance for October 1st, 2017 Route 91 Harvest Festival shooting. That will take place at 7 a.m. on the Clark County government. Rest in peace to people who lost their lives that day. I really don't have anything else to say about it. And that's it for today, people. Well, I know I've kind of spent the last half of the show rambling, but Sheagrath, I'm sure, is entertaining you with boobs in the chat. That's it for today, folks. I gotta go. I really hope you enjoyed being here with me today. I definitely appreciate you guys come here each and every day. We're here Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, and soon it'll be 3 p.m. It'll be 3 p.m. GMT, I think, because you fall. Wait a minute. You spring forward, and you fall back. No idea. Just 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, no matter what happens during the time change. That's what time I'll do this. And if you haven't done so already, on your way out, hit the like button. 13 people left, 10 likes, at least get up 13. If you haven't done so, click, 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 click. All right? And if you're watching this after fact, please share the stream. There's the share arrow down there. And if you're not subscribed, hit subscribe, hit the bell. And for future reference, for super chats and or donations, you can do that through the Streamlabs link anytime, whether I'm live or not. I gotta go. Thank you for being here. My name is P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. Hey, this is P-Dog Knight, and I want to thank you for joining me today on the P-Dog Knight channel. Before you go, if you like what you saw and you're not already subscribed, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button down below, and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, and 2 p.m. GMT. A special thanks to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through our Streamlabs link in the description below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here.